Shinji Mikami is best known for his work on the Resident Evil series. He was the game director on the original, game director on the remake of the original, and game director on Resident Evil 4, among others. Even outside the gargantuan survival horror series, his work in the industry is vast. His hands were on numerous other Capcom titles, he had stints with both Clover Studio and Platinum Games, and eventually founded his own studio, Tango Gameworks, where he helped release The Evil Within. Mikami's portfolio is both expansive and impressive, but his work has always leaned towards one particular genre, survival horror. It's for this reason why John Johannes and the rest of Tango Gameworks kept the development of Hi-Fi Rush under wraps. The company was unsure how their current audience would react to a game so drastically different from their previous works. This risk was given an out when Bethesda, and by proxy Tango, were purchased by Microsoft in 2021. This strange and experimental project could fare better if released on Game Pass for all subscribers to try without committing to a purchase, and if it was good, not only would more people try it out, but hopefully Microsoft would convert more users to Game Pass. Development began concurrently with 2022's Ghostwire Tokyo. The development team was a small but very passionate group. The game was a dream for Johannes, and he and the team strived to achieve their true vision. One main goal was to nail the animation and art styles. So much time and attention was put into making the game look like a cartoon come to life, that at one point Johannes had a coworker see stills from the game and assume it was actually concept art. This same attention to detail was also found in the gameplay. Initially, the team didn't want to have UI of any kind, with playtesters relying on their innate sense of rhythm and the tells from the audio and levels themselves. Only after seeing how much they could get away with did they start adding various features for the less rhythmically talented. The game was originally planned to be announced much earlier than it was, but after the COVID-19 pandemic, all of their plans were thrown out. Eventually, as the game neared completion and E3s continued to be cancelled, the team decided to announce the game during an Xbox Developer Direct in January of 2023 and release the game only a few hours later. The game's title and logo were leaked the day prior, but the shadow drop was still cool. The game came out for all Xbox and PC Game Pass players that day, and was also available on Steam for purchase. I watched the trailer that very day and was blown away. A rhythm action platformer with a fantastic cartoony art style? Sign me up! I bought it as soon as it was a few bucks off, and jumped right into it shortly after I built a new PC. So only a couple weeks after the game came out, it became the third game I played on my new build. The first was RuneScape Classic, and the second was Minecraft, but that's beside the point. Hi-Fi Rush opens with a wonderfully 2D animated cutscene that introduces us to Chai and the world of Vandelay technology. He's signed up for a new program that will replace his arm with a robotic prosthetic, but after a mishap, his MP3 player is embedded into his heart. This results in the world around him moving to the beat of whatever song is currently playing. This also results in Vandelay considering him a defect and has sent league after league of robots to capture and dispose of him. After synchronizing with the adorable robotic kitty 808, Chai teams up with 808's creator, Peppermint, to try and take down the clearly evil Vandelay Corporation. The game features a series of levels where Chai and 808 explore a new wing of Vandelay campus, each usually culminating in either a large enemy encounter or a boss fight set to an early 2000s rock song. The levels themselves are a series of corridors with the occasional platforming challenge, interspersed with hubs where Chai must face off against various robotic foes. And of course, all of this is set to the beat. Chai starts with a heavy attack, light attack, and a dash, each of which are timed with the beat, where attacks are input on one beat and executed the next, and dashes can be strung together if timed well. By successfully executing a combo, for instance 4 light attacks in a row, the combo culminates with a strong beat hit. Enemies also attack one beat later, so listening for their cues and dashing away is just as important as getting combos right. As the game progresses, Chai learns both new combos and new moves, including my two favorites, the grapple and the parry. Enemies also vary. Some attack close range, others far, some fly in the air, and some require a partner attack to get in close. As Chai gets new partners, some can help him in battle, which adds to the array of mechanics to handle these dastardly robots. The platforming sections are all fairly simplistic. Jumping is the one thing Chai doesn't do on Meat, although all the platforms he's jumping on do. It was mainly a way to get from one combat arena to another, while finding some power-ups or money in between. The bosses are all really fun and bombastic battles. Each are set to licensed songs, usually with lyrics, and are where some of the most interesting battles occur. The first has Chai fighting a big robot, the next a wrestler-themed Vandelay employee. Later ones include neat twists. One of my favorites consists of only parries and dodges. A late game one is a combination of a regular fight and a traditional rhythm game. After beating the game, there is even a pretty good post-game, with about a dozen extra challenge rooms for Chai to complete, as well as a few extra gameplay modes to test Chai's rhythm and ability to remember combos. Every good rhythm game needs good music, and Hi-Fi Rush has it in spades. Admittedly, I'm already very partial to rock music, but both the original score and the licensed scores rocked. My body was jamming the whole time, my foot always tapping to the beat, and I like to think that helped me keep on rhythm too. The original score was by Suichi Kobori, Reo Uratani, and Masatoshi Yanagi, and the licensed score was from artists such as The Black Keys, Nine Inch Nails, and Zwan. I didn't even know who Zwan was before this game. Every piece, either written or curated, fit the tone of the game perfectly, and it was always exciting whenever I began to hear lyrics because I knew the game was about to throw down. One of, if not the coolest part of Hi-Fi Rush, is how the world is crafted to fit the music. The first level is a perfect example of this. The way Chai is grooving to the beat, snapping on 2 and 4, the way the lights flash to the beat, the way the machinery starts and stops to the beat. The fact that the whole world feels so intricately crafted to make the beat visibly apparent to the player, both subtly and obviously, is the game's true feat. And making the combat to the beat felt great as well. I am not good at character action games. I can never remember the combos, let alone time them properly. But by assigning these moves hard values and placing them to the beat, the rhythm gamer in me was able to actually pick them up and have a great time. I mean, I was still horrible at remembering combos, but everything else was so fun. Pulling Chai towards an enemy, smashing them, dodging from an oncoming attack before grappling the next robot was an incredibly tight dance. And with Chai always learning new moves, with Vandelay always introducing new robots, and with the level's music never getting old, I had a truly great time. I didn't have a high ranking time, though. Each battle is graded by 3 factors: how on beat I was, how quickly the battle was won, and how wide a moveset I used, which was called score. I was always on beat, and I usually beat the encounters fairly quickly. And despite getting in the groove of grappling towards enemies, dodging well, and occasionally parrying, I only ever used the 4 light attack combo, so I'd get S-rank rhythm, S-rank timing, C-rank score, resulting in A's and B's across the board. This is less a critique and more an admission of a skill issue. Regardless, I still had so much fun, but I'd have technically done better if I could get myself to actually participate in that one aspect of the game. That all being said, sometimes I felt the combat encounters were a little too long. Each section would just deliver wave after wave of enemies, only for the next encounter to be 5 steps ahead and just as long. The first time through each level took me about an hour to beat, and sometimes I felt like I needed a bit of a break a tiny bit sooner. The platforming sections were also a bit mid. None were especially egregious, but none were especially great either. Since Chai doesn't jump to the beat, these sections feel like a normal 3D platformer, not a rhythm platformer. Plus, Chai's jumps are very floaty. They're designed this way to juggle enemies during the combat, and it works great there. For platforming, it doesn't feel precise enough. The most rewarding aspect was looking around every corner to find collectibles. I did always enjoy searching the nooks and the crannies. The game is stylized wonderfully. It really is a cartoon come to life. The cell shading works incredibly well, and all the details of the level are beautiful, especially the first level, where so many things are happening all over the screen. This is lessened slightly in later levels. Each all have their unique look and style, but many funnel Chai into literal hallways, a lot of which begin to blend with one another, and none have as big an impact as that opening level where Chai first sees Vandelay campus. The story and characters were very well done, but I especially loved the voice acting. Everyone put in such fantastic performances, from our main heroes to each of the villains, and the game's final set piece was well earned narratively and utilized some really surprising gameplay mechanics. Also, Hi-Fi Rush is funny. Peppermint and Chai have such a good, almost sibling-like dynamic. I loved how Cinnamon was basically tangential to every situation he was in, and Chai trying to talk with each of the Vandelay bosses never worked the way he wanted it to. There were some real good gags in each of the levels too. The robotic secretaries have a great sardonic wit, there's some really good physical comedy with the enemy robots, and the written logs tell some great anecdotes. My personal favorite moments were with the HR detective pondering their own existence. Oh, and it says here that I am contractually obligated to mention the Joe reference? Huh. Lastly, while I usually do try to complete the games I play, I didn't want to this time around. The completion criteria, if I'm being frank, sucks. The extra challenge rooms in the final unlockable area, that's all really good. The challenges required me to perfect the gameplay mechanics, and I had a great time mastering them. Everything else would have been a slog. Every single level must be beaten on every difficulty with an S rank to be fully completed. That means beating every level 5 times each, mastering them all. Plus, replaying each level plays out the same dialogue and the same cutscenes, so get ready to skip a lot and hear all the same jokes over and over. This is all before grinding things for the mural, which requires doing certain moves thousands of times in some cases, the combat tower mode, which must be beaten twice, and whatever new modes were introduced in the DLC. Being unable to wrap my head around combos, none of this was on the table. It was just too much, and I didn't want to do it, so I gave up. It felt bad, but I'll get over it. Hi-Fi Rush is a fantastic time. I loved the music, the art style, and the characters so much. Fighting the robots almost never got old, and every boss was a darn good experience. I'd happily dance along with another one. Overall, I give Hi-Fi Rush an 808 out of 10. Look at that cute kitty that keeps the beat for you. Thanks for watching. This is the first video in a new series, video games that came out in 2023 with the word Rush in the title. Hopefully you can find the next video, a review of Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, in the coming weeks. But while you're here, let me know some other rhythm games I should sink my teeth into in the comment section. Maybe leave a rating on the video and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my stuff. If you'd like to read more of my stuff, you can follow me on my social medias where I'm at Mario8th everywhere. Links to them and all the resources I used in this video in the description. I pulled info from the Verge article, The Making of Hi-Fi Rush, as well as the Waypoint podcast interview with John Johannes, although Vice fired all of Waypoint, so check out Remap Radio instead. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.